Hythloday, being lectured by you on this stuff. Yeah, you already understand. No, I do look at it as an inquiry and conversation. I don't care how you look at it. I don't see it as incompatible with you looking at it your own way and your adversarial way. Because, you see, I wasn't raising just new questions. My inquiries had to do with issues you brought up, like you said that, oh, it's bad because of planning. It's an existential fact. And so you admitted that planning fits in some places, so my inquiry was into, well, where does it fit? And yes, you have to become an advocate for your own position that, well, in this case, it's a bad thing. You brought up that one person bureaucratic decision making isn't good. I've said I don't believe in a centralized system. There are ways to employ market, and which my idea does. And so then again, then you're in the position of saying, well, why does that apply to my system when my system doesn't say have a single person just decide those things by fiat? Okay, my system says use academic uh, input, also use input of the market that these retirees are taking part in, and collect that data. And so on and so forth. So all of my issues, my inquiries, were getting into details of things you raised. So that's what you don't understand. So even though I look at it as inquiry, because any statement of position can be taken as concrete, but there's areas where my system is open to adjustment. People that would be inclined to agree with it might say, well, what goods should they be? And that person and I would be talking about that. So obviously you're not that kind of collaborator, but I still have a conversational attitude towards it. You can have your adversarial version, and I have not stopped that. I have totally answered you. My queries would come under re-rebuttals and the process of rebuttal. You see, because you have made a criticism, I have denied it. You have acknowledged some of the denial. Oh yeah, well there's more detail, and then when I go into detail, you pull all this bullshit like I'm doing something else. On the other hand, you can't make me an advocate any more than I can make you a collaborator. And believe me, I don't see getting much from you in collaboration other than, um, you trying to test the weaknesses. But if you're just going to say the same weaknesses and not let me start inquiries into more details, then it's already done. You already said, oh, because planning is bad. Well, you don't want to answer, well, is all planning bad? Is it just some kinds of planning that are bad? What part of the planning is bad? You've said that there's times for compassion to, you have to answer on those, or else you've already made your complaint. Well, in general, you shouldn't do this, but there are times that we should, and you don't want to talk about what those times are. So you can show your little circles, but you actually just didn't need to realize what's actually going on. I have been trying to ask questions that were on the topics you raised, so I didn't deviate from your little friendly adversary model at all. And just kind of, I'm annoyed by you and your condescension and just the way you're approaching this kind of stuff, and the side comments you keep making. You like a passive aggressive prick basically, and then you talk about, oh well, if we were friends, I would. I'm not asking you to collab. I don't need your cooperation in order for this to be a collaboration. You see, because I'm looking for ideas. I just need you to come up with some ideas I didn't already have on my own. So far, you haven't. Okay. You've come up with ideas that I did already have on my own, which you acknowledge, and I've come up with answers as well, which you've ignored. So, until you pay attention to the complete description that you ask for over and over and over, until you're capable of that, I'm afraid the problem is with you. I am not going to see the conversation your way, but as I said, my role still fits that. I still take an adversarial rebut and re-rebut role, and I was on topic, the topics you raised as important to you about my idea. But you resist me making my rebuttals and then answering the rebuttals in the re-rebuttal form and so on. You are the one resisting that. So you can look at that chart all day long, and you just don't seem to be getting it. And I found it laughable that you're lecturing me about that, but laudable that you're going through it. But you just need to make yourself more honest to that system, whether you see yourself as an advocate for something or not. When you make a criticism and I rebut the criticism, you are then in a position of defending your criticism. That's the way that works. You don't seem to know much about formal debate at all to me. And I don't require people to behave in a formal debate manner. But if you want to do that, then understand what it is you're talking about. I have already taken the advocate role, and I have been a proper adversary in that role. I've been the adversarial role, and you can look at it that way and find that things are going fine. And I still will look for it as though I'm trying to see what information is out there. I'm trying to collect interesting ideas that might cause me to alter or update my thinking. You're failing at that. But, you want to keep giving condescension. As far as I'm concerned, you're lucky that I'll keep talking to you about it. So the whole threatening condescension tone, just save it. In this video being a meta video, still I have answered, several of your main criticism and shown how the ball is in your court, and then you whine about that and say, oh, you can't get a ball in my court. Yeah, it's going back and forth. I started it, you make a criticism, I criticize your criticism, you defend your criticism and criticize my criticism of your criticism and so forth. But you seem to get confused after the part where you get to ask a question, get an answer, ask another question, get an answer. That's not how it works. Okay, you can ask a question, I make my position, you ask a question, make a critical question, and then I question your critique, and so on and so forth. It's not just you ask a question, I have to answer. You ask a question, I have to answer. And when I say, well, it should go in, the answer lies in this direction, go, no, I don't have to go there. No, yeah, I do, as the advocate, get to say, hey, this is the area. And plus, the whole topic is illuminating more details about my system, where it's set, where the decisions are set, where we have to decide like how to make a formula rather than what the formula is right now, and so on and so forth. And also on addressing the criticisms that you have raised that you admit I already thought of. So, yeah, you really should just lose the condescending attitude. You're just looking like passive aggressive, person there with your feelings all hurt. So just, save it, grow up, and you want to make specific criticism fun. And you're the one that's given up halfway through this process. There's nothing I've done that isn't in that process you tried to diagram. The fact is, that process is a subset of the process I use. So the problem is that you can't even complete the system the way you advocate running it. So do that.